What is good, everyone? Welcome to this video. I'm Charlie from Conscious Creation, and in this video I would like to share with you how you can go about and manifest things through that of sexual energy. So when it comes to manifesting things in our life, we need to take action. We live in a physical world, and this is where sexual energy can come in and help us give us that energy. So we go through this process of transmuting and alchemizing that sexual energy and using it to help create the things that we want in our life. Yogis have been using this for thousands of years. More modernly, we've got businessmen, sportsmen, inventors, and they have been using it as a way of biohacking the human body. Now, I'm going to be giving this mainly from the perspective of the masculine because that's my point of view. However, for my research, I would say that it's both equally beneficial for both men and women. As a man, if you retain your seed, retain your semen for a week, your testosterone increases by that of 45%. That masculine drive starts to come through, that discipline, that motivation, that focus starts to shine through. There's a really good book by a yogi named Swami Sivananda, and it's called Thought Power. And he talks about how this sexual energy can increase one's mental clarity and creativity. And if you are continuously releasing your seed, whether it be on the bed sheets or wherever, is you are wasting a lot of vital energy because it takes 40 to 80 drops of blood to create 1 drop of semen. So often when you release it, you can feel tired for 1, 2, or even 3 days because your body is working extremely hard in order to get that energy back. It's one of the strongest human drives that we can experience. It's strong enough to create a baby. So think about it. If you could use that energy to help create something in your life, it could be very powerful. There's a book called Think and Grow Rich by that of Napoleon Hill. And it was a book written over a 20-year period, interviewing 500 of the most successful people at the time. And they started to see this pattern, that these very successful people were actually highly sexually charged, but they were using that energy to help create the things in their life. And there's a chapter that's called The Mysteries of Sexual Transmutation. People like Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Shakespeare, Nikola Tesla, they all use this practice. The question is, how can we go about and start building more of this sexual energy within our body and then use it to help create things in our lives? So when we feel that energy build within the body, when we feel the desire, is most men, they just want to release it because it feels uncomfortable. The key with it is to learn to observe it, watch it, and then it will start to dissipate. And each time the energy will build up again and again, and it starts to store in the body. And it can feel quite uncomfortable because the energy is very powerful, and most men don't or aren't used to that type of energy in the body and in their central nervous system. But that's because we're not taught on how to actually cultivate this sexual energy. There's a really good teacher called Mantak Chia, and he teaches how to maneuver this energy around the body, how you can pull the energy out of your lower energy centers, out of your genitals, up your spine and into your brain. And often when it reaches the brain, this is when we get our mental clarity and that of our creativity. You can then circulate it through something called your microcosmic orbit. So by placing the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, you can circulate it through this electrical system. If you want to know more information, I recommend seeing his work, but you then free the energy and it becomes available for you to actually use. One of the things that Mantak Chia explains is that women are generally more superior sexually than men. They're more intuitive to this type of energy. And a lot of the times is men can feel inferior because of this. And they go along and try to get this balance. So they can often manipulate, control, or try and gain power over women because of this. And this actually creates a lot of trust issues for women. And over the years, women have been shamed and put down for expressing their sexual energy because of this, because they are much more intuitive at maneuvering the energy around their body. Whereas if a man was taught how to do this properly, he could also do the same. So if you're consistently releasing your seed, you are activating a primitive part of your brain. And this primitive part of your brain thinks that you are procreating, you are furthering the human race. So what does it do? It goes, congratulations, well done, and it gives you a big shot of dopamine. So if you continue to go through this process, you are going to feel more lethargic, more unmotivated, because you've got no reason to go and do anything, because your body thinks that it's procreating and doing one of the main jobs that it's here to do. And often you just feel like sitting down and watching movies all day. There's something called Hebbian's theory, and this is when neurons that fire together wire together. So if you continue this stimulation and release, you are going to create connections in your brain that get stronger and stronger, and therefore create more cravings for this. And this will actually end up creating more negative habits for yourself. There's another book by Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. And in this book, it talks about something called the law of hypnotic rhythm. So as we make our way towards our goals and achieving the things that we want in our life, is often we can drift away from this path due to addictive behaviors. It can be any type of addictive behavior, but we can get pulled down this pathway. And due to the law of hypnotic rhythm, the further that we go down this pathway is the harder that we find to come back. You see people who have these deep addictions, they have to go on this long journey in order to come back to normal life. Now, much of our society is programmed for sexual activity, and it can overstimulate us in this way, things like social media and TV. And if you think about it from an evolutionary point of view, for thousands and thousands of years, we didn't have nearly the amount of stimulation that we have available to us nowadays. Now, I'm not saying all of it is bad, but if it is forcing you or making you release much of this energy, you want to be more conscious if you want to use this energy to help create things in your life. And this is because if you continue to do it, it's going to wire your brain for short-term pleasure, and you're actually going to become more compulsive and more reactive in your life. Now, I always say in my videos, when you want to create the life that you want, you need to allow your internal world to flourish. You want to feel what it would be like to be living in the reality that you want, and not pay too much attention to what your outer world is showing you, because it is simply a reflection. I talk about this in my video, that of the mirror principle, if you want to understand a bit more information about this. But if you are continuing to react to things in your life, things that you don't like, you become more and more compulsive, you're much more likely to keep experiencing those things in your life that you do not want. Also, if you continue this process, you will get a weakened central nervous system over time, and it can even create a negative self-image for yourself. Now, in Hinduism, in the Taoist, it's a book called Cultivating Male Sexual Energy. They explain that if you manage to build up this sexual energy within the body, they call it the ojas. And a man with no ojas may speak a beautiful language, but his words do not impress. And they then say, if a man has this ojas, he may speak a horrible language, but yet his words charm. They say this is the ojas coming out. So in things like Hinduism and cultures like that of China, they always encourage men to retain their seed for as long as possible. However, the Egyptians believed that it was still very healthy to release it on a somewhat regular basis if you can learn how to retain that sexual energy after release. And in my next video, I'm going to share with you exactly how you can do that. So thank you for watching. Peace. Take care.